up, team, and welcome to the Kaisa Show. Mike, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. Thank you for asking. Just okay. Today's an okay day.
Really?
Yeah, did you...
I haven't heard you say just okay. Normally you're so, hyped and hypey. Is that why you're sipping tea?
Sipping green tea for my longevity. Oh, shit. That probably already exists.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, I want to create a tea company called Longevity. Oh, man.
Here he goes.
I'm back.
Oh, my goodness.
No, I'm just kind of tired. I don't know what it is. I think I drink too much coffee. So I think it's like having a reverse effect on me where it's like I'm just yawning and I'm tired. A lot's going on, though, too. Like, the brain is full. Like, it's kind of full steam ahead.
Yeah, no, we have a lot going on right now. So I feel like I'm a little bit to blame for a lot of your
Or
tiredness.
to thank. I mean, yeah, either way.
Also, I took the team to barbecue yesterday. I can't even say it wasn't last night. It was supposed to be our lunch break. This barbecue hit us so hard, not in we had to run to the bathroom, but hit us in we literally all basically fell asleep.
It was nap mode.
And it's still hitting us today.
Yeah, I mean, it was so good, but it was definitely one of those things after I ate it, I was like, I need to kind of get my life back in order a little bit.
If you're in Seattle, go to Pecos Pit. It's so fire.
And take a nap.
And then take a nap, yeah. Okay, well, let's head into what's buzzing today.
Now it's time for What's Buzzin'. What's a buzzin', bub?
What's buzzing, Kaisa?
So sweet. I am buzzing on something that most of my family will literally roll their eyes about. I am buzzing.
Most things.
I know, that's
that you're
my life.
on.
No, because I'm so delayed. That's why.
Oh.
I'm buzzing on Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah.
Team, I am 10 years late to Game of Thrones.
Is it that old?
8 years. It's old. Wow. Yeah. But the funny thing is because my family used to gather on the Thursday or the Sunday, whenever it released, and would all watch it together. And they were all, and I was
what were you doing?
Kicking it. Yeah. You already know.
You're like, everyone's doing that. I'm going to do something different.
That's how exactly I was for 8 years. Wow. And then I finally gave in and I love it. You know, when you find a show where you're like, okay, I basically need to put my whole life on pause right now so that I can make sure
it becomes your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I definitely know.
So I am loving. If you have not watched Game of Thrones, it is on HBO, so you have to have HBO. And there are 8 seasons, which is...
right now, this is hilarious.
What?
It's like the pitch for something that's 8 years old that everyone has seen.
Oh, everyone's seen it.
So
okay,
it's a show, takes place kind of a while ago, and...
Okay, fine. I won't talk about it.
Who's your favorite character?
My favorite character... I don't know all the names. It's very hard for me.
Yeah, that's a serious thing.
I think Khaleesi, the one with the blonde hair, her right-hand man is my favorite character.
Oh, my God.
I love him. He's like a Kevin Costner.
Oh, not called Drago. Not her man.
No, not her man.
Not the... what is there?
Not Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mimosa.
Mimosa. Hello. God.
What? I know who you're talking about. Yeah. The older dude.
Yes.
Gray hair. Wow. Oh. This is just a theme. I like how you're like, that was the whole point of this buzz, was to put that out there.
That I like old men.
You like old men? Older men.
I love older men. Yeah.
What would you say? A good, a 47?
No.
Like a 50.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like a 57. More like a 52.
Yeah, 52, 53.
I feel like a 52.
54 is the highest, maybe.
Yeah, 54. Okay, you heard that. 50. If you're 54 or younger, but older than 47.
Preferably. With 3 children.
DM.
If you even know how to use the DMs.
We've talked though. That's why. That's what it is though. It's not. We don't want no influencer that's 52.
No. I don't want an influencer.
They don't
preferably,
they don't have Instagram.
I was gonna say preferably you don't have social media. Yeah. How is this turning back to my dating?
You always do this.
No, you did this. Okay, moving on. What are you buzzing about? Pause for 1 second. Do we have to listen to you sip tea this whole episode? It's very aggressive.
Is it aggressive? I find it calming. No. Hold on.
Oh!
Kind of sounds like a bong.
There's There's nothing calming about that.
I'll go off mic. I apologize.
Thank
I'll
you.
go off mic. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm buzzing. So I haven't. Wow, that was not me. For those of you who are just listening after that, and then you go over there and sip like that. Wow.
I was trying to do it. Oh, no. I was trying to do it intentionally, but I almost spit it out.
Okay. That was funny then.
Okay,
I thought
well,
you just
not
like
really.
didn't. Okay.
Clearly, I missed the mark.
No, I still laughed. And you laughed, that's the most important thing on this show. All right.
Getting a serious core workout already.
That was a silent sip right there. That's
go ahead.
a rip tip. If you need a silent sip, drift back in how you sit.
If you didn't know,
Let it
team,
rip.
Mike's alter ego, you have a few alter egos, but
got
one
a
is
few of
Rip with a tip.
Rip, he always has tips, life tips. A lot of good ones, honestly.
And they always rhyme.
Yeah, that's the pressure that I don't like. I tried to break that, and then a friend of mine called me out on it, and I was like, "Damn, I dug myself in here a little too deep."
Yeah, you got to
because
stick with that.
I
That's
did
kind
it
of
too
what
many
makes you
times.
special.
But here's the thing, though: rip and tip only rhyme with so many things. You know what I mean? So it's hard.
I've
It's
heard
a
you
challenge.
you're up for the challenge.
Yeah, so.
I've heard you.
And I never like write them out or anything. Like they're always in the moment.
You're a freestyle
so it's
rapper.
a lot. It's hard. It's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of failed rip tips. There's an archive, probably on my wife's phone, of failed rip tips. She's
Okay.
the producer of rip tips, so she's hearing this right now, and she's going to start putting these out. All right.
I love it.
The buzz. I bought a new computer.
Oh.
You sound so thrilled. Do you know that this whole empire has been built digitally on my computer? And I got a new one, so it's going to continue. Yeah, anyways, I know it's not that exciting. That's why I was kind of like, buzz.
No, that's okay. There's so many people that are probably curious about what did you get?
Yeah, so I'm a Mac guy. I've had the same. Here's why I'm a Mac guy. I got my last computer in 2012. Oh. I've had the same Mac computer, made a lot of money over the last 10 years off of this computer that I've had for normally I feel like a lot of people go through computers in a couple years, 2-3 years, right? And shout out to my friend Mark of, formerly Startup Weekend. They gave me an advance. It was like when I first started video.
They gave you an advance to buy the
They
computer?
were like, what is holding you back from doing some of these jobs? I was like, honestly, I felt kind of like ashamed to even be honest, but I was just like, honestly, like I need a better computer. And he's like, what if we advanced you some money for a project to buy a computer and then like you take on these projects? I was like, okay. I just said yes, even though I was like, because there was a little like kind
Shame,
of felt,
totally.
but I did. And that's still the computer I have today. So anyways.
Are you going to frame or do something with that $1 million?
That's my problem is like, I hate throwing things away that like still work. It just doesn't work good enough for now.
You should just keep it. So remember when I had that tripod that I had...
It's in the office right now.
And we have it
under like a bookshelf.
But it was like duct taped, and it was just like the
$1
$1
million
million
tripod.
because that's where I filmed everything off of. So it's like there's a few things that are important keepsakes.
I'm talking a 27-inch like iMac screen computer.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like a laptop.
No.
That's when I think of computers, I only think of laptops.
Yeah. That's why I realized this topic is not for you.
That's okay. No, it's not for me, but might be for some of the listeners.
But in case some of the folks out there listening want to know what I got a new Mac Studio. So they came out with these really dope little box computers this last year. They're lightning fast. Like they're just supposed to be all the shit. So I finally got it. Okay. They're very expensive. Had to buy monitors also because they don't come with a monitor. So the iMac is a monitor and computer in one. Okay. So now I've got this little box and I've got computers, but it just, the thing that I'm not buzzing on is like what it creates that I have to redo everything. You know, new workflow, got to clean the office, it's a domino effect. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Okay. Well, I'm happy for you.
I'm buzzing. I think it's going to save me a shitload of time.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's it.
Yay.
Wah, wah, wah.
No, there's people that are interested in things like that. Just not me.
Speed, fast computers, faster editing time, less time on the computer, more time out there living life,
There you
creating
go.
the things that you want to create in this world.
Way to sell yourself.
Yeah, so I'm excited. But
all right, well, moving on. I feel like we need a bada bing, bada boom.
yeah, I know. We need to get some sort of transition there because right now we don't have one. But
Yeah.
I'll think of something, a little transition.
Well, while you're thinking,
We can talk about
do you
your
want to
pants.
freestyle? We both try to put each other on blast. I'm wearing some fire
No, I know.
pants.
You're
right now.
fashionable. I'm not fashionable. They are like 100% snowboard pants. Like they look exactly. I mean, are they snowboard pants?
No,
I'm being serious.
They're Jordan.
No, but like, are they? Nike makes snowboard stuff,
Yeah, this is Jordan.
but Jordan's owned by Nike.
Yeah, but Jordan's its own company. It's a separate thing, basketball. These are now just streetwear pants.
They're just streetwear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like fashionable.
Fashionable, totally. The Jinko look. Like I used to have those pants,
Yeah.
not Jordan or like swishy pants. I don't know what you call those.
Yeah, but style, things come back around.
back.
They evolve.
I still like have just.
You could bring things out and it would now be in fashion again.
I see. There's very few pictures of me at that age, but
Yeah.
when I see those jeans that just go like straight down, I mean, it was just. I thought they were so cool.
But they were cool at that time.
Yeah.
Did you wear like a puka shell necklace too?
Oh, but come on. Obviously. Had every phase of the 90s for sure. Puka shells, frosted tips, or sun in, No. Oh, yeah. I remember like 5th grade, I think it was, or 4th grade. I remember I was so excited to go to Bartell Drugs and use like savings that I had to buy sun in. Me and my friend Brandon were like, oh, it's going to change. Like, it was like everything. It was everything. And summer just started and we, you squirt it in your hair. I have like dark brown hair. So
Yeah.
it like barely made it like a red kind of auburn slight tinge. I don't know what I thought it was going to do for me, but I was so excited.
Yeah, I mean, back then everything was going to be life changing. So I agree with that. My style was always I would say back then I wasn't like super stylish only because everything was sports. So my style didn't really, as long as my sneakers were on point, like my style didn't really evolve until high school. I started pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, in sports, I feel like just lends itself to be kind of stylish in a way.
Yeah, but it wasn't like it wasn't super trendy. So I don't look back. I mean, there's some
Yeah.
things. Like I dressed very tomboyish. Like I only shopped in the tomboy department. There probably is one now. In the boys department. Like that was my like style. So it was all sporty, all
So you had,
Yeah.
You knew what you were going for something.
I guess I was definitely going for something.
I remember sweatsuits or that material, jog suits. Or at least that's what I used to
Yeah.
call them. Oh my! I had another vision. I remember I wanted this jog suit so bad. I think it was a Nike one at like Fred Meyer, and I was like, life is gonna change. And I could like envision myself rolling into school
Yeah.
with this green jog suit on, and everybody being like, "Damn, who's this
Mike,
dude?"
Mike,
And I'm just like breaking out a little dance,
Yeah.
and it has that noise, swishing.
Yeah. Did you get
Anyways.
it?
Yeah, but life didn't change at all.
Oh, yeah.
I was still a
But
loser.
it's the build. Oh my gosh, stop. It's
Seriously.
stop. Well, you're not anymore. They just didn't know. But it's the buildup of all those that made it all so exciting. Like every year when I got a new pair of sneakers, I literally thought my life was going to change,
Yeah.
So that was what was exciting. That was what we were living for back
Yeah.
then.
It's still kind of to this day.
And I definitely still am, team.
Full
Okay.
situation. Cool.
Full situation.
So today we're going to like check in. I was going to ask you some questions based on kind of your recent performance and state of life.
I feel like this is a call out session.
No, it's a
My
check-in
hands
session.
are sweaty.
And I'd like to preface this whole thing that
Okay.
there's no judgment
Okay.
today. So even though questions may come out sounding like they're fishing for something, they're not. Like it is just an observation and a curiosity. I'm coming from a place of curiosity, not suggestion. I mean, we may
Not
get into
roasting,
suggestion.
I feel like-
not roasting.
okay.
No, that was roast-ish, but failure.
I can handle a
because-
little roasty
Yeah, you
toasty.
can handle that. But no, and also I'm not one to like, we can chat about what I think, but ultimately I'm not here to tell you what to do. Obviously I'm just here to be curious.
I always I appreciate all of your curiosities. Honestly, a lot of it helps me shift like, why am I doing what I'm doing? Or so I'm down.
And shout out to curiosity, because what you just said is so like, I have this thing where I think the more curious we can be, the more we can see like all sides of things. And it's like less of like, I have this opinion and you're doing it wrong. It's more of like, I just want to know more about what you're doing and why.
Yeah.
Not because, and then like, done. Like not, now I insert what I think about that. But when
and when you ask questions, I mean, because we do this a lot off camera, sometimes it helps me reflect like, wait, hold on, why do I do that? Or why do I believe that? Like, I think that's the point in life. Like sometimes I do things I don't even know why, or I don't even know I'm doing them. So that's a good little reality check.
And likewise, all the time. I'm like, why the hell did I
really
just do
call
that?
you out.
No, you don't ask me. Sometimes you do. But I'm just saying in my own mind, like I'm thinking, it's like, why do I do that? And I think the point is, you don't always have to know why. It's just, I think it's kind of going back. We talked about this a few episodes ago, I think, about creating that space and just like witnessing it and being like, oh, that's a pattern. Not sure why I do it.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing that I do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Then starting to eventually, once you see it, I think for me also being in the place of analyzing, does it serve me? Does it not? Is it, Okay, cool. Well, I'm
a lot
ready.
of front load here.
Wow.
Now I feel like I don't even have great questions. No, but I think mainly here, I'd like to kick it off with your body kind of feeling, you got some body parts talking to you, like your hamstring, your low back now. Yeah. You got some injuries kind of. Now, I don't know, are they considered injuries? I don't know what really defines an injury, but I got some
things going on.
You got some things going on.
Yeah, so I look at injuries very differently. I think there's injuries that happen, let's say like, I twisted my ankle or something like
that.
A
trauma.
There's like a trauma, yeah. For me, like what's happening right now, it would be considered an overuse injury. But the reality is
Hold on.
Okay.
Say that again. An overuse. So okay. And I just wanted to clarify that. That was a little roasted.
Sip the tea. Okay, well that's coming because Mike is trying to tell me I'm doing too much right now. And from the woman that doesn't believe that there's ever such thing as too much, I'm having to slightly look at things. So I do hear you there.
Overuse injury.
It would be considered an overuse injury. So for example, right now, I'm having some definite pain in my hamstring, which now I'm seeing a PT and it's referred basically from my piriformis. The thing for me is there was no injury moment that happened. So it's an overuse thing, but I also know my body well enough to know she's trying to fucking tell me something because this has been going on for 5+ months and there's no reason why things haven't gotten better. So when I think about injuries right now, it's like, I know we can talk about like, oh, the injury, but it's not. I know that there's a lot going on in my life and my body's trying to talk to me right now and I'm not listening to her.
Is it always the same message that
No.
your body? Oh, so it's different messages.
Yeah. For me, well, it's always the same message in terms of I need you to slow down and I need you to kind of look around. I'm the type of person that gets tunnel vision and I just do my thing and I think I'm right and I think this is the right way. And oftentimes, I would say all of my injuries have helped me pause for 1 second and they kind of like shake things up and they force me to look around at other things that are going on in my life and things that need attention. And for me right now, like there's a lot that I run from, honestly. Like I work 24/7, I work out 24/7, I do a lot and I don't like to stop because then you gotta turn and face a lot of shit. So, but now my body's like, no bitch, you're stopping.
Yeah.
Like we're not running from this anymore.
So then what happens? Then what happens?
So, I mean, for me, there's a handful of things. So because this has gone on since the beginning of this year, it started to help me realize there's definitely some things family dynamic wise, emotionally that I need to deal with that helped me kind of go into therapy. And now in therapy, there's been a lot of things that have been brought up about why I do what I do. So while I'm unpacking that in therapy, I'm also kind of reconfirming that my injury was right. And she was telling me to like start looking at some other things in your life rather than be in the gym 24/7. And this is no knock to movement, because hello, I love movement. But for me, it's the way in which you use movement. So for many, many years, I've still used movement as a punishment or movement to override a lot of other things. It's not always the healthiest thing for me. And so definitely in therapy now, slowing things down in my life and starting to look at just all the way from my past of how I grew up to like what's going on now and how I go about things, I realize, oh, like that's why I've had this injury for 5 months. I mean, I've said this to you. Like, I know she's trying to tell me something, and sometimes I'm not ready to listen to what my body is trying to tell me, and it takes a while. But now it's all coming together. I get it. Did take me 5 months to get it, but I get it. And I need to slow things down and switch things up.
So is it like, are you in search? Because it's like, okay, the way you deal with stress and the way you deal with, or like what brings you joy and what also kind of de-stresses or manages stress is movement. But if that movement then is also causing you stress, is it like, are you looking for like a second thing that can sort of de-stress or manage stress that doesn't also potentially cause stress?
Yeah, but this is ever so complicated because my career is movement. Yeah. And so this is where movement is I feel like everyone has a handful of things that are the best thing for them to go to take care of themselves. Movement is the top of that list for me. Other people, it might be meditation, it might be art, it might be whatever you want, but movement is at the top for me. And so it is my most powerful tool, but then it also became, it's not a double-edged sword, but it became my career, which means it's not always used appropriately. So there's a lot, like for me sometimes, so I train 4 times a week with my coach. And right now we're filming a program, which means I'm doing the full classes to about 3 times a week. And Mike has said several times, like,
and you're doing track sprinting.
And I'm doing track sprinting, and I'm waking up early. I know, I didn't realize all these things, but he was saying this yesterday. I was like, what do you think I should take out? And he was like, well, you're waking up at 6:30 in the morning now, so you're adding that. You haven't reduced your training. We're adding more sessions because we're finishing this program, and you have track practice now on Friday. And I was like, shit, I never even realized that. But going back to, the thing for me is, if I was to reduce going to train with Luca, my whole body starts to like, okay, no, that's like asking me to not go to therapy. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's so hard for me, but then also I can't reduce filming because we're on a schedule and we've got to get this program out, and that's how things go. And so I am realizing when you said that yesterday, I then think to deal with stress, let me just add more things.
Yeah.
And it's so fascinating because I know, and we've talked about this before, I know that how I handle stress the best is by reducing things. And it's wild when you said that to me yesterday, because I literally 2 episodes ago was like, you reduce things, you take things out. And I did not realize that I wasn't reducing. I am in one of the most stressed seasons of my life I think that I have ever been in. And I totally was not aware of how I was handling it. I have been adding.
Yeah.
Till you said yesterday, you're adding.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's part of it. It feels like it's a very part of our culture now, and especially for you, like your job is to be adding content all the time.
Yeah.
Like fresh, new, and that alone. Like, so there's this weird lack of being able to like be still and like kind of enjoy. Like we always are, we're going for our phone, or we're trying to do something always. And there's almost like a weird guilt or something around like if you're not doing, like everyone's always busy, and it's like to say you're busy. And I think that how do you like, that's where we go to when if we're stressed, or if we need to, it's like, how do I add in more things to de-stress? Like, how do I add supplements, or how do I add more movement, or how do I add a new diet, or how do I add seeing these friends that I'm not seeing enough? And it's like, it's adding more to the plate that's already probably overfilling, overfull.
But this is wild. And we're like, I feel like we're talking this out and I don't have answers, but I know to reduce things. I do reduce things, but when it comes to movement, that's the thing I've added. I added, okay, let me give myself some breathing room in the morning. So I'm going to wake up and I'm going to go walk. let me add a little bit of community to kind of like give me more energy. I'm going to go do track Fridays. Let me finish this program faster than we had originally planned. You know what I mean? So, but that all was around movement. That's a thing I think for me that's really important to understand, to have a healthy relationship around that. And I don't always have a healthy relationship around movement. And what happens to me if I take out movement? You know, like when you say, Kaisa, maybe you shouldn't go see Luca while we're training, while we're doing this. Maybe you shouldn't go see him 4 times a week. I mean, I angrily am like, I don't know who the fuck you think you're talking to, but I am definitely doing that. And then I'd be like, why? Like, what's going to happen when you don't?
Your typical response is no, that if I remove that, like there's definitely like a reaction. And it's if I remove that, I'll be worse off.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I do believe I will. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's the truth.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the truth. But yeah, I definitely, for me, I know to practice reducing, but when it comes to movement, because that's just so much of my go-to to not only take care of myself and keep afloat, that like it also is the negative too, because it's like the distractor, the runner, you know, the not always positive space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I find it sometimes it's harder almost to be aware. You know, these last few years I've done a lot of work to be aware of more things, but I still don't change a lot of those things.
Yeah.
Whereas before, if you're not aware of them, you're kind of just operating in, you know, auto mode, so you don't even know it. And now it's like, I feel like with what you're saying, you're like, cool, I'm aware that I add more in, but like, I don't want to fucking take it away.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, how does that make you, I mean, so like we're talking about this right now, like what happens tomorrow? Like tomorrow's Friday. Are you doing track practice? What happens next week?
Yeah.
Like we have a few more workouts to finish, so we are at the tail end of this. Like what happens with Luca training? Like how do you?
I mean, I think so for example, with Luca, we're adding one of the days is like a full recovery day with him, because I know that, okay, rather than taking that session away, let me just do something a little bit more lighter in that session.
It looked like it was hard to say.
It was. I was trying to say, because like recovery isn't always lighter, but like
Okay.
I didn't have the right word. But it is hard for me. There's a lot that comes with like it's my outlet. Like it's my stress reducer. There's so much that happens that like I would say the word fear is accurate when I think about removing some of those things. Like, how am I going to manage everything else that's happening in my life? What's going to happen to me when I don't do that? You know what I mean? And I think so there is a fear of what's going to happen. So before removing it altogether, we're just going to reduce the volume of work that happens in those sessions. For example, Track Friday is going to happen tomorrow, but yes, my back has been bothering me.
And I had recommended maybe like a Segway and a megaphone where you just chase everyone around and coach them instead of doing the workouts yourself.
So I'm taking half of that. I'm not going to do a Segway, but I mean,
viral content guaranteed, but yeah. No, it's
well,
cool.
do you have a Segway for me to use?
I have a one wheel. You could use that.
No, that would be a broken back.
That would be good content though too. So we got to get you on the one wheel.
I would definitely fall off of that.
Yeah. Sorry, that was I digress. But
so no, I am starting to like wake up a little bit. I am going to go see a doctor for my hammy, and that makes me realize I've already been working my physical therapist, but at this point in time, I have to have somebody actually take a closer look at it.
Okay.
And so that is an eye-opening thing for me too. I don't want to be injured. Like there is something going on if I have an injury that's lasting that long for anybody. Like if we have something that's lasting this long, there's something else going on, and it would be really easy. It would be a cop out for me personally to say, oh yeah, it's just like, you know, my hammy's just bothering me. No big deal. Maybe I need to do some PT work. I know that's not the case. Like I know better than that. I know my hamstring is bothering me because I'm ignoring some other shit in my life. And so that's, again, kind of bringing it full circle. That is the sign. That's my body talking to me. She talks very loudly when I don't listen to her, of like, I'm not going to fucking heal until you look at a handful of other things. Until you heal some other things in your life, I'm not going to heal your body because you don't listen to me. My body is the way that I listen to things. If she shuts me down, that's when I'm like, okay, fine. I can't believe it's had to get this bad, honestly, but so is life.
So you're saying that your hamstring is unrelated to the movement, and it's like stress or other things going on, and it's like just manifesting in that, or it's like kind of
It's
Got it.
because I know it's an overuse. I know right now it is. it's a dueling thing. I know it's real. It's not, my hamstring is definitely injured, but I know for the fact that it has gone on for 5+ months, I've done the PT, I've done the things. I haven't slowed down altogether, but I've been very aware of it. I know there's other things happening. And I don't mean to sound woo-woo, but I know that it is her way of saying, I need you to pause for a second because what you're doing right now is not working. And not like it's not working for her. It's not that it's just not working for my body. It's not working for me and my life. Like it is not, I'm not in a healthy season right now for a lot of other things that I'm ignoring. And so my body, because she has the most power over me, is like, sit the fuck down. Like literally sit down, turn around and go look at some other things. And I need you to put energy in some other places besides business and just working out. Like I need you to go look at some other things because we're not very healthy right now.
Yeah.
And that's literally like, I know that sounds crazy, but it has happened to me too many times in my life and she's right. And I look at other things and I adjust things and it changes my whole life. And so I listen to her now. I mean, this took me too long, 5 months, but like totally. No, I know she's right. And I'm in therapy to co-sign it now. You know, I am like, my mind is blowing from all these different, like, oh my gosh. Like, so then I get the opportunity to put it all together and better late than never, I guess.
I'm trying to relate this to it because I have like a weird kind of groin adductor. Yeah. Inside. And it's like, it's just like, I'm not running. Like it's like hanging around. I'm just really doing mobility. Did the Spartan, so that wasn't good for it. But it's like, so what do you do? I guess you just go to PT and you find the things that you need to slow down at or that aggravate it specifically. I'm trying to think of like, how do people listen and maybe apply this to themselves?
So this is great. Thank you for bringing that up. I'm not saying you have an injury and it's not your body and that you need to look at other things all the time. Like I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying from my perspective, I do all the things. I go to injury. I have a coach look at my movement. There are actual physical things in my body that need to be adjusted, that need to be worked on, that need to be reduced. Like there's a lot going on. So with your adductor, like 1,000%, I would say if this thing has been bothering you for a while, you need to get it looked at. You need to have a PT look at it. You probably need to have also somebody look at your form because you work out all the time alone and you could be doing something. Excuse me.
That's cool.
Wow. So sorry, team. You could be doing something without even noticing that you're doing that, which is causing an issue in your adductor. So yes, look at your body and have adjustments made and take care of yourself. But also for nagging things, start looking elsewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like look, kind of like turn and look at the rest of your life.
Yeah. And take it down a notch, but it's hard. Like it sucks.
Yeah.
Like I'm not pumped. Like it's boring to just I'm just doing like mobility and like walking, you know, and even walking sometimes I'm like, I should probably like not walk that far to let some of these like overuse injuries.
I mean, you could do some
subside.
wild upper body stuff. Like there's a lot you could do. But also I think the thing is this is why it's important to remember that things happen in seasons. And when you come back off of this injury and you are back into, you know, your kettlebells, your more powerful work that you love, you're also going to love that so much more because you didn't get to do it for a little while.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's helpful. I mean, it really is helpful to kind of like embrace that season mentality because it is hard to see beyond where you're at currently.
Yeah.
You know, and I think a lot of people with injury, why a lot of people just continue to get injured is because they can't kind of say like, okay, cool. Unless you have like a cast, right? And it's like 6 weeks, I can't do shit because like I have this cast. But most of the time, I know this thing is X, but I still need to do this thing. Yeah. And then you just kind of never heal, right? And it's like, I know so many people, including myself over the years, where things just don't go away.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to take it easy.
It's hard. And there's also a lot that we do in our life that causes, you know what I mean? A lot of back stuff can be happening because we sit here 24/7. You know, there's a lot that's happening. I do try to put a positive spin on injuries because I just think they're also our body's way of trying to teach us something. And so if you can be open to the lesson that your body is trying to tell you and teach you. Like, I think that's a really amazing thing. I mean, our bodies are amazing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more going on in your life than kind of like what you think. That's always when I'm reminded. You know, I always have just these blinders on them. I'm like, this, until my body goes like, no, life is this.
Yeah.
I need you to look at all these things over here. So shout out to my body.
It's also like one thing, I guess, you know, I guess sometimes it's acknowledging these positive new spins that I actually don't realize I have until I'm looking back. But like with that Spartan race, one thing that I was definitely like less negative around the pains that were going on. And I was shifting it, not even like trying to be positive in the moment or anything like that. Like it was just actually what I was experiencing was shifting it to be, oh, that's something I need to work on. Like clearly my like adductors are undertrained, like because this stability and all this stuff, like I need to do more work. Do I do much work in that? No, I don't. I need to. And then it was like also like my calves, like from running, I'm like, yeah, like I need to probably pay attention more to like some of my calves and things like that. So it's like instead of just being negative, but like, oh, I'm weak, or like, oh, I didn't train enough, or oh, whatever. It was more looking at the opportunity of like, oh, cool, those are parts that are talking to me that are getting moved up to the top of the list of things that need to be worked on.
No, I love that. And I think that's really important because the thing is you are in this body for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So like having that spin, as minor as it seems, to be like, rather than sitting there and bashing your body and blaming your body, like being like, oh, that's something I just learned. Damn, okay, let me help you out so that, you know, we can be running more, we can do whatever we want to do. But this is the body you have.
Yeah.
So it doesn't help you're not doing something right, or you're doing too much of something, or you're not doing enough of something if there's a lot going on. So like take that as just a little note to self and make adjustments.
Yeah.
And that's the point of all of this.
It's like asking for help instead of complaining. Like
Absolutely.
your muscles or whatever's going on, it's going like, hey, we need to improve on this thing. That's why I'm talking to you. That's why I'm showing you this pain. Not, hey, we suck, we're weak, we're never going to get better.
And literally, that's why I always say, like, think of your body as your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
If it was constantly saying, like, hey, I've got this thing, and you're just like, ah, fuck you, keep going. You know what I mean? Like, no, you wouldn't do that. Like, damn, okay. If your back is really bothering you, like, what is going on?
Mm-hmm.
What am I doing? Because I don't want your back to hurt. You know what I mean? Like, and I want you to feel better, and I want to be able to like treat you as best I possibly can. What do I need to do? I'm in control of this. Don't ignore it. Start, like, if you need to go to, that's a perfect place. Go to PT, have somebody look at your movement, have somebody to start kind of adjusting that and giving you a view of how your body's working. And then if you have this thing like I do that keeps nagging, then you need to probably look at some other things in life.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. That's fun. I like you've said that a lot. I don't think I ever really, I think I just got a visual of what that looks like, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
And if you think of it like, say your shoulder and you're like, oh, your shoulder's hurting. Do you just go, that's just how it is? You know, like if your friend was like saying, hey, I don't feel good, or I need this thing, and you're just like, that's just how it is.
No, you never
Or
would.
is a good friendship where you're like, oh man, like what can I do to help? Like, what do we need to do? Do you need some ice? Do you, you know, like.
No, but this is, and I like, this is what I love so much about thinking of your body as your best friend, because you get to think of it as other than, which means automatically when we think of things as other than, we just take better care of it.
Yeah, no, that's
so
true.
when it is your best friend, for example, you are not sleeping enough, and you keep asking your body, and these are things that I do all the time. I keep asking my body to show up. I need you to be the best you can fucking be every single day, in business, in relationships, in performance. I need you, I need you, I need you. And I never fucking give anything back to her. I don't eat well. You know what I mean? Like, these are so many things that happen in my life. I don't eat well. I go party 24/7. She doesn't get good sleep. I don't do enough recovery. And then I literally wake back up and I say, bitch, what the fuck? Why can't you show up for me? I need you to be a 10 out of 10 right now. But I treated you like a 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
So then it's like, no, okay, hold on. And that's why I'm saying, like, the injury right now, there's a lot of places in my life that I'm treating her a 2 out of 10. For me right now, it's a lot of mental, emotional stuff that I'm not dealing with and I'm ignoring. So that's where it's the 2 out of 10 right now, and it's wrecking havoc. And I know myself well enough to know that that's where it needs to be. And I'm being guided in therapy to start digging there and be guided through that. And I think that's, well, shout out to therapy, but that's the that's the amazing thing that happens when you move and you're connected to your body and you can like listen to it and you can start to figure out so many amazing things about yourself.
And back to your example, if that were your friend, you'd be like, yo, you like had a rough night, like sleep in, let me go to the store or whatever. You're right. You're going to be like, oh no, you take it easy. Like you don't need to do that today.
Right.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Girlfriend.
Yeah.
You know,
literally.
yeah.
But that's the thing. Or you'd have a come to Jesus moment with her.
Be like
I would.
Look.
And literally, like how, okay, hold on. How the fuck do you think that you have, party 24/7, you're drinking. Those are just easy examples for me because that's really the conversations I have with myself. And then you think that you're going to get up and go do this. Honey, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
So something's going to give right now. So you have to choose. Is what you're doing in business and, performance in the gym more important right now, or is partying more important right now? Like that's literally a conversation I had with myself a little while ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, what's more important? Because you're putting your energy in something and then you're telling me the other thing. So you got to switch this around right now.
And it goes back to, I think what you're saying is like, you have to remove something.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is the hard part. Cause I think it's like, maybe what I'm hearing is it's like, you kind of want to do it all. Like you don't want to do
that
anything
is the story
less.
of my life.
Yeah, you want
I
to
want
do
to
all
do
of
it all, and I want to do it all at 110 miles per hour.
And you can survive, I think, to where, like I relate to this greatly as a parent, because you get up early, you do the parent thing, then you go to work, then you come home, you do the parent thing, and you get this like very small fraction of the day to sort of like spend for you or with your partner, right? And so Pri and I will like, okay, cool, like it's 9 or whatever, let's chill, like what do you want to do? You want to have a drink? Like it's kind of nice just to have a quick drink, You have a drink, you watch a show, maybe you have another drink. And you're like, oh, this is nice, like this is nice to get this. And then you realize it's already eating into the other thing that you need to do and you're going to enjoy, but you're not going to enjoy it very much because you got to wake up early. Now you're going to have a little hangover. Now you're going to be a little more tired or whatever. And so it's like you have to pick a lane, and picking it is really hard because it means you have to not do one of those.
Absolutely.
And most of the time with parenting, like
you got to parent.
So.
But absolutely. And I think that's where that's where we all, if you just take a second and sit with yourself, you know what's going on. You know what you should do. We don't always then have the ability to do it right away, but And for me personally, the knowing and not doing is what eats me alive.
Yeah.
And that is really that's where my spiral, like I'm somebody, of course, we've talked about this a lot. Like I'm somebody that will start to spiral here, and then that will lead to my depression. And then I'm like beat myself up, and then we go down and down and down. So that's where it's like, I think my injuries are a gift. Before I get super, super deep and, in a dark place, I'd rather have my body saying, can you please fucking look at some things? Cause these are adding up over here. Mm-hmm. Like this is adding up over here, and this is going to get to a breaking point. And I need you to put some time, energy, and effort here. And I always think of life as a pie. The pie is not growing any bigger. You can just slice it differently. And, my body's saying you're slicing it basically one big chunk in business, one big chunk in crazy movement, and a little tiny slice for family. And that's all you're doing. You haven't taken care of me mentally, emotionally. Like there's nothing going on over here, and I'm at a breaking point.
Yeah.
And that's what that's what my body always tells me through injuries. Like there is something else in life that's not working.
Yeah, when you talk about, what were you saying around? It made me think about like not drinking, like when you're like, oh, let's not drink, sober October, right? But you have to like line it up to make sure that nothing in October is happening to where you need to drink, right? Because you want it all. And so you're like, as long as nothing's, what's a month where nothing's happening? So not drinking would just be really easy, right? Instead of it being like, no, the point of it is that you go do the things, or I don't know if the point, but an exercise in it is that you go to like a football game or you go camping or whatever it is that you really associate drinking with, and you don't do it because like that's the win.
And you learn the lesson
exactly
of not doing it. And that's the other thing. I don't look at things as permanent anymore. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like when we're just on the alcohol, I feel like is just an easy, it's a really easy one though, but it's not the only thing. But it's really, for me right now, it's to learn the lesson. It's to remove something. So right now I'm not doing any hard alcohol, which honestly just reduces my alcohol consumption, which is good. But then it's to learn the lesson of what alcohol fills. And then it allows me to kind of see a little clearer and dig a little deeper. And then I don't have to be in that place forever. At some point in time, like I've learned that lesson and I've become aware of that thing. And I take that little token of knowledge and then I move on to a different season of my life. And then maybe I drink again or add on whatever it is that you removed or whatever that thing is.
Yeah, I think pulling back, I think where we're going is really, it's like, how do you treat your body like your best friend? I think like if I'm like looking at this big picture, because I'm thinking with alcohol, it keeps coming up. I think it keeps coming up because we're trying to find a new relationship with it. Like we're unhappy or we realize that it's not serving us the best as it used to, or like we were fine in that season to do it that way. And now we're like reestablishing a new relationship with alcohol.
Yeah.
Maybe it's no alcohol, maybe it's no hard alcohol, maybe it's whatever it is.
Yeah.
But it's also because you're treating your body as your friend. Like, and you're saying like, hey, something seems to not be working.
Absolutely. And then for someone like me, there's a deeper lesson here that I like to drink to mask my social anxiety, which is never anything that I realized. So I've learned recently that I have anxiety and definitely like social anxiety. And so instead of masking that, I would like to handle that like with care. And maybe that means that I'm more aware of the social situations that I put myself in. Maybe it means I'm dealing with, tactics for when I feel my anxiety coming on. But I can't do that if I'm masking it. And so I think for me, I definitely have a curiosity to figure out how I can live my best life. I know I'm never going to get to the top of the mountain and do that. But so because I have that curiosity, I'm like, okay, well, let's not mask things. Let's be really aware of what happens. So now, for example, when I'm in social settings, I am so much more aware. I hold my breath. I am out of body. And this sounds like so dramatic, but these are things that I do, which is why I drink alcohol. So I like don't pay attention to how uncomfortable I am. And now the gift is I'm learning all these lessons about myself. And then I can take care of myself better. That's the other thing. When I know that about myself, rather than ignoring, I can literally sit and say, like, she's my best friend. Holy shit, I never realized that stressed you the fuck out. I won't put you in that situation anymore. Or I'll be more conscious of like what situations I put you in. That's a beautiful lesson to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's almost like if you remove the things that are coping or masking, you really address the foundational self-care, then you can always add the other things back.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely. But I think so much of the way that we live our lives is to mask, hide, deny, have shame, know it down deep. It wreaks havoc in our system. It's like, that's how we live our lives. And I just, again, to bring it back to injury, like I'm aware of that's what I'm doing, but not until something really important is taken away from me do I decide to do the work to fix the thing. And I think for me right now, again, I'm just going to say I'm not doing this alone. I'm in therapy right now because I'm in a very heavy season in my life. And I feel so fortunate to be able to have guidance through it. But it is absolutely incredible, the things that I'm learning and the mind-blowing things that I'm learning about myself, that for someone who thought she was pretty aware of herself and, pretty in touch with herself, I had zero idea. So I appreciate being able to look at myself and how I live this life and the things that affect me with like clear glasses on now. Yeah.
So how's it going? Like, how are those like social situations?
Fucking roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
And I definitely, the thing for me now is like, I'm aware. So I will tell you, this is coming from someone who I didn't understand anxiety, but I sure as hell didn't think I had anxiety. And so I just thought it was like Kaisa-isms, like dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
That's the word that's describing my whole life. And so the other day I was driving to a friend's house, and I think that because there's a lot going on in my life, there's a lot of things. It's not just that social situation, but I was driving and I started realizing like I couldn't catch my breath. I couldn't breathe. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't fucking breathe. What the fuck? And my first thought is like, you're so fucking dramatic. Like, okay, breathe. And I'm like, I can't breathe right now. So then I'm like, okay, this is my anxiety. And rather than like beating myself up in this moment, you know that this is this thing. What are you going to do? And I was like, you're just going to be calm. You're going to figure this out. You're not going to talk shit to yourself. You're just going to slowly try to breathe. And I did at one moment think, am I going to pass out? Do I need to pull over? But I was like, no. And even that realization, even that moment of taking care of myself and being like, what do you need right now? Like, what do you need? And just the acknowledgement was what I needed. Like the acknowledgement of like, I'm not being dramatic. This is a real thing that's happening. I can't breathe right now. I can't catch my breath. Now I'm getting lightheaded. Okay, this is really happening. And within the, 10 minutes that it took for me to get finally to the house, I was like, okay, I'm fine. I'm okay. But I don't know why I told that story, but the point is I'm learning so much about myself.
Yeah. The question was like, how's it going? So you were up,
so that's how it's going.
Yeah, it was a good update.
It's not fun.
Yeah.
It's not, most of the time, it's not fucking fun to learn about yourself and to try to unwind things. This is not a fun time in my life. The piece that keeps me going is when I lay in bed at night or I have a quiet moment in my day and I fucking know I'm taking care of myself. And that I never realized how much it eats me alive to know that I'm not doing the things that I know I should do to be taking care of myself or taking care of my best friend, AKA my body. And so that feels good. And that honestly fuels me to keep going. That fuels me to keep showing up and to keep doing the hard things. Cause I am taking care of myself to the best of my ability right now. And I could genuinely say that. Almost say that. Cause I think yesterday it was pretty obvious I'm adding too many things on movement-wise, but yes.
Yeah, and I mean, I think part of taking care of yourself is it's not like you're going to not make mistakes, or I don't even know if those are mistakes, but like the fact that you are acknowledging it and you're like, oh yeah, cool. Like that alone is taking care of yourself, and like being open to it, not being like, nope.
Yeah,
I am taking care of myself like always being open to like, oh, interesting. Okay, that's I'm gonna look at that.
Yeah.
And see how. Yeah,
and for most of my life, I wasn't strong enough to be able to do that, and so I didn't look at anything. Well, I thought I did, but I didn't, and I just kept barreling forward.
Yeah.
But and I have compassion for that because I think I would have fallen apart. I think if I looked at things at any other time in my life, I don't think I would have made it through.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the I always hear, Jesus, green tea didn't help me.
Yeah, we have a lot going on today. Wow.
Take a sip. There we go. Like, we look at these like coping mechanisms or bad habits as bad things, but it's actually like they're what get us through.
They're serving a purpose.
Yeah, like they're survival, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you don't want to continue. Like you want to change these habits potentially if they're harming you, but they're also protecting you in a way.
Amen. And honestly, that was one of the most powerful things that my therapist had said to me, because I am a negative self-talker, and I'm like, why the fuck? Why didn't I realize this earlier? Why didn't I start doing this? And she's like, you weren't in a place to do that. And you should thank all the things that you did, because that's how you survived it. And now you're in a place. So now let's deal with it. And so for anybody listening, it's also just one little thing at a time. And when the moment's right, I think if you are doing enough to take care of yourself and be in touch with yourself, you'll know that you're strong enough to handle that one thing, not all the things, the one thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like yeah, I love this stuff. Cause like in like parts therapy, it's like if you were to say like say your mid-20s, there was a part of you that didn't have time and had to hold it together and didn't have space to like be emotional or anything like that, and like needed to be that rock. You could look back and go like, damn, what a bitch I was, or you could judge it, but then you could also go like, wow,
thank you.
What a fucking, like, do you know what you had to hold it together when like I couldn't, you know, like that part of me had to hold it together. Like, wow, like, thank you. And like, that had to be really hard, and you have compassion for that part versus just negative self-talk. And then all of a sudden you start realizing like, wow, you kind of think, hey, it was you. Right. So then it's just like a cool thing to even acknowledge. You're like, shit, like I did that, and you're looking at it from a positive perspective versus negative.
I mean, I absolutely love that. And I think that again brings it back to helping people understand why we talk about our bodies as our best friends, because it helps you to look at the things that you do in a more positive light. And if you knew that your best friend was always trying to do the best that they possibly could, then you would have so much more grace or forgiveness or understanding for why things happened the way they did and why you did what you did. And also you just be more encouraged to do things differently now. You know what I mean? And one little thing at a time, not all of it. I just want to keep underlining that one thing at a time. But you'd be like, okay, well, now we're in a place like we've survived all that. We made that through. And I'm in a place that I really want to acknowledge that happened. And then I want to do different now. I want to change it up.
Yeah. Can you kind of step away? Can you take a break and let us take over?
Yeah.
And now we can we can take over from
and
here.
us being a different part of your body, your mind, your soul, all those things. Yeah.
What'd you just say? I lost my train of thought on that. But yes. Give your body a hug. That's what I was thinking. It's like when you talk about your friend that's doing it too much or like not letting anybody in.
Yeah.
You know, like if you envision that person and that's your body or that's a part of you and just like, don't you just want to give it a hug?
Absolutely. And don't you want to just be like, you're fucking amazing.
Yeah.
You have shown up through my entire life. You've done the best that you fucking could. I'm not going to sit here and talk shit about you. Or if I do, I'm going to like let it go quickly and tell you something positive. Like, thank you. Fucking thank you. Thank you for waking up every day. Thank you for being here for me. Thank you for carrying me through this life that I want to do after all the shit that I trashed you with. Like, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Now that's why we move. Now that's why we sleep a little bit more. Now that's why we're a little bit more gentle to what we say, you know, about our bodies. Like, now that's why I do what I do. Absolutely. Yeah.
So what now? Like, what's next? So you got all that. I feel like you got this like wisdom. I feel like you're tapping in, but now you have to like apply it, right?
Yeah.
So like, what does application look like for you?
So application for me, if we were going to, and literally this is happening right now because I realize because I've said it out loud, I've acknowledged that I actually should be changing a few things up. So application for me. So I am going to finally go see the doctor. So we're just going to I'm going to take care of the actual physical body and see what's happening there just so that I know, but I also know there's other things happening. I definitely am diving into therapy more and being really present about some of the things that I can do mentally, emotionally to take care of myself and give myself a little bit more space to deal with that. And then movement wise, honestly, right now, I think it's just, I don't want to stop with what we're doing filming, because there's more programs coming and it's just such a big piece of what I love and what fuels me that I need to adjust what I'm doing outside of the studio. And I think for me, having a schedule and going to go see Luca and being held accountable there. And honestly, that is another form of therapy for me is fine. But my first step is going to be really adjusting what we do there for the next few months and just whether it's mobility and just more gentle work for a little while I come out of this space. Because what happens when I give myself the freedom to do more gentle work, I just have more energy to do what I know needs attention right now, which is that mental and emotional work.
Wow. We'll check in with you in like a month.
Okay. Well, thank you for holding me accountable. That was really a team. For those that are listening, we had a team lunch yesterday and both Mike and Taylor were sitting here and they literally both at the same time basically rolled their eyes at me like, wait, how do you not think you're doing too much right now? Basically. Like, and I was like, I fully did not understand. I was like, what are you talking about? Because in my mind, I had just convinced myself that adding more movement isn't a problem. You know what I mean? But without realizing like, no, that is the problem. Like you're just running from all the things and causing more of an issue. You're blowing everything up because you're just thinking movement's going to solve everything. Movement is like my one great love, but it doesn't solve everything. And too much of it is not a good thing.
Yeah, and I love the line. I always have loved this line is like, it's not overtraining, it's under recovering. Because it's kind of like, if you want to add more training, that's okay. It's not about overtraining. You just also have to add more recovery.
Amen.
And at a point, you will hit a point where you can't recover. You'll have so much time during the day. But I love that line.
No, absolutely. And I think it's important to like broaden my perspective of recovery too. You know, recovery for me is literally being at home sometimes and not having anything to do and mentally recovering. And I think there's other ways. It's not just like a physical recovery practice, not just going through mobility or doing, whatever else. There's other ways in which I need to recover my mind, body, soul.
There's stillness. I mean, I think like we talked about it yesterday, it is uncomfortable. And when I went camping for my birthday, it was just me and one of my best friends. There was zero itinerary except to surf. And you only can surf so much. And so it's like we'd wake up, we'd have a little breakfast, we'd surf for a few hours, and we'd have like 6-ish hours to do nothing. I didn't have to parent. We weren't going to go see anything. It was like literally the only thing was to eat. You need to like fill yourself with something. And it was like, I was bored. You know, I was bored, even though I say I want to do that all the time. And it didn't last the whole weekend because I started just being like, maybe I'll go take a nap. Like, when can I started envisioning what I always say I want when I don't. And then that alone helped me just go like, just sit here. I sat for like, 45 minutes to an hour a few times.
Yeah.
And it was like, I didn't want to be on my phone. I just like sitting in the sun, like an old, like an old man on the porch.
That's amazing. And then those also help you realize like when you get back into your busy, crazy life, you're like, okay, sitting is amazing, but also that's a little boring. So like, where's the happy medium in all of this?
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that. And stillness is something that I definitely need to practice.
In going back to like charge, like when you recharge, your recharge can't be another thing you're adding.
Right.
Like the recharge has to be, which is kind of confusing because like you're saying, it's like, well, my recharge is movement or adding meditation. Adding meditation might be
Too much.
stressful because you might not understand or you feel like it's too much.
Yeah.
So now you're trying to add in more things to remove.
Yeah. But this is a minor example. Like on Saturday. So the way in which I realized, which I never realized except for, I would say this past month, what I do, I had I went to a play at 2. And then because I was already downtown, I was like, okay, who's out? What's happening? So on Friday, I was like, okay, who's out? What do you guys want to do? You want to do something on Saturday? And then all of a sudden I realized, what the fuck? Go to the play and go home. You know what I mean? Like, what is it about you that just needs to go, go, go? And for me, there's so much that I'm running from. We're not all the same, everyone. Like, we're not the same people, but I know what I was doing. I was like, I don't want to go home and sit there in my thoughts and not have anything to do. I want to go, go, go. So after the play, I'm going to go kick it. We're going to go out. We're going to do all these things. And then I had this moment of, no, you're fucking not. Like, no, you're not. You're going to go to the play and you're going to go home.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And I was asleep at 10 o'clock at night. It was wild.
Yeah.
On a Saturday night.
I mean, I don't know where I heard this, but it's been something I really enjoy, but like make time to be bored because we don't ever, like our goal these days, it feels like, is like, there's never a moment of boredom. Like, why would you want to be bored? There's always something to watch on demand, on your phone, a new thing, call a friend.
And something that you should do. You should always be getting smarter.
Yeah, go. But I will say like a major win for us of like, cause we're trying to teach this to our kid is to like be bored, like be okay with being bored. Cause kids especially, like there's always stimulation. And I think there's a lot of power. Like, I mean, how often do you stand in a line at the grocery store and not go on your phone? Or how long are you watching something with a friend and they go to the bathroom, do you pull out your phone just to get a quick hit of like what's going on in this other world? Like those are like minutes that we're not able to just sit, right? And that's just more dopamine and more stimulation that then is stressing you out, right? That you don't think it is, but
totally.
And so I remember when we drove, we got stuck in traffic and we got out at Starbucks like halfway through and River just goes, gosh, it's just like boring in this car. And I was like, it is boring. I'm bored too. Don't you want to be there? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, dude, we're halfway there though. So that's cool. And it was like, that was it. It wasn't like, oh, here's how to fix your boredom. I'm not going to give you anything. Like we can still talk for the rest of this trip. And then we're able to, who knows what'll happen. But like we flew to Costa Rica and like we didn't have to do the iPad because he's learning how to be bored. I
also just think you have to experience those things to then have heightened experiences of when things are great.
100%.
Because I do think sometimes I realize these downtimes are not just to experience the downtime, but they're to also experience the uptime and like how amazing to be aware of that.
Totally.
Because we do that all the time. It's so easy in life to be like, oh, I want to go on vacation. I want to go on vacation. I want to go on vacation. Then you're on vacation. It's like we're never present. But if you have all these moments of being like, okay, I know what it's like to feel that. And now I'm here like, wow, I can really be present. And like, this is amazing. Like I'm really experiencing this differently.
Yeah, we're going more into like mind as your best friend.
I know,
but I think like what you're saying is really, I don't know what shifted for me over the years, but there has definitely been a shift where I'm in moments, I mean, it happens when I'm with you, like when we're working. I mean, the C4 thing, I think was like when we had that moment after that shoot, being really aware and calling it out. and you're like, holy shit, like I am really excited and really having a fun time right now. Like those moments are hitting me way more often than they used to. Like I feel like I was a little bit more numb. And I think the idea of things before doing them was the excitement. Like, oh, I'm going to go do this thing. I'm going to buy this thing. But when I got it or I was there, it was almost just like it didn't have the same effect as thinking about it. But now it's turning into the opposite somehow. It's like,
But I think you have to consciously do that. Mm-hmm. And we were just talking about this, but I think I practice consciously being aware of when things are good. And even when I'm just in a state of like, okay, I'm happy right now. Like, okay, I'm not super stressed right now. And then I just try to like take that in and have a moment, even if it's a 2-second moment of this feels really good. The sun is shining.
Yeah.
I'm driving on my favorite part of the bridge. Like this always happens to me when I'm going over 520. I'm like, it's beautiful out. I like this water is gorgeous. I'm not really stressed about anything right now. I'm not even driving to anything crazy exciting, but I'm just like, okay, this moment is really good because we tend to like stack up the negative moments. Like, and then that becomes what life is. All of these stressed out negative moments. But I think I'm like trying to put coins in the piggy bank of like, this is good. This is good. This is good.
Embrace those happy moments.
Yeah.
Be best friends with your body and celebrate with your mind.
Yeah, what was the mind one? Mind is
but
fascinating for me because I think my mental toughness, not toughness, I don't want to use that word. I want to say like my mental physical is like so far behind my physical side. Like that's something that I'm really interested right now. Like I really feel like, okay, lack of a better word, I feel like I'm really mentally weak. I think that's something that I really like. I'm very fascinated in, I'm always fascinated in digging into pieces of me, but I think right now it's like, okay, where mentally can I start to work on myself and better myself and, have more tools for myself?
You're doing it right now.
By talking?
Yeah.
Oh.
For sure.
Really?
Yeah, it's like the fact that like you're on the journey to get stronger in the mind or whatever you want to say. I think that alone that's growth by far. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least I'm not in denial anymore.
No. I think you're also not as aware sometimes.
Not
maybe
aware
that
at all.
This is not a judgment. This is
just
an observation that like I don't think you see the growth a lot of times in like what you do. Because I think these conversations alone, like just doing a podcast, just like talking about things openly is a tremendous mind growth or strengthening.
You're right.
Huge.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, for so much of my life and definitely my career, like I wouldn't talk. I was so worried. I was so judgmental of myself. And I was so worried that the thoughts that I had in my head would be like something ridiculous and stupid. And nobody, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, you're right. That's a huge exercise in mental strength.
I think just another shout out to you is that I feel like you're more open to knowing that you don't have it figured out. Like it felt, I don't want it to sound like you had it figured out because I don't think you necessarily took that fully on, but I think you seem more like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going to work. So let's try it versus it felt a year plus ago. It was more like, no, I know what's going to work or not.
No. So I agree that that's how it seemed from the outside, but internally it was like, I am so fragile that I cannot adjust anything right now. Like I will literally, and honestly, I think I've been like that my entire life. And that's where like the bitch attitude came from. Like everything was, don't even try to climb this fortress. Like don't even try to change a brick on this goddamn, Great Wall of China. Like, no, don't even fucking touch this shit. Cause I was so fragile on the other side that I think I knew somewhere down deep, I couldn't handle anything. I just had to keep it all the way that it was and no adjustment could be made. And now, so maybe that's a testament to my more mental strength and everything else. Now I'm like, okay, I'm in a space like I don't think I'm gonna fall apart if I adjust some bricks right now. I'm not gonna fall apart if somebody says like, you should really look at that. I might have an attitude for a second, but then I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right, I should. Because ultimately I'm in such a different place of like, I want to be taking care of myself to such a different level right now. And I think that's definitely the growth there. What?
Just going back to the awareness, it's like you literally just said what I said, except just way more eloquently and like personal. Like I love it. You're just like, no, it's not that like this change has happened. It's just this change has happened in this really deep and meaningful and really cool way.
I can't hear it from you. I can only hear it from me.
There's growth.
Oh.
Any Hoosier. That was good. I think that's fun. I think it's good. I mean, my whole thing, I think, is people like you. There's a lot of people that like listen and watch, you know, think that you're the, you know, the queen of whatever, right? Or you're like, I want to live that life. I want to have all the things she has. And I love that and appreciate that you're willing to like talk about things. It's like, yeah, like you are grateful for your life and you have worked really hard, but there's also a lot of shit that doesn't get seen. And there's a lot of you deal with hard things just like other people deal with hard things, and we don't have it figured out. And like we're always trying, you know, and balancing, and injuries happen. You're not just superhuman or something like that.
And
you know,
I fall apart all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't have it figured out. And I have awful, terrible, dark days. And like, yeah, totally. Well, but I appreciate the space here because that's the problem with social is like, it's so hard to be real 24/7.
Yeah.
So I think this podcast is like such a beautiful place to just be honest and open about things.
Yeah, and there's just more of it. Like you have what I don't even know anymore what the timing is, but it's 10 seconds or something. You know, like, and if you just can't have a full conversation about anything, and to say like, hey, tell me about your darker days and like how you overcame that in about 8 seconds and make it visually stimulating so people actually stay on it and listen to the whole story. It's like. It's just so exhausting to try to do that. So it's like we can play that game and not need to be trying to convince people or share these stories as much. But on this platform, it's cool to be able to give you the space and the time to figure it out as we talk.
And to just be honest with the team, like people that are tuning in on social and here to know that what you see on social is just one side of me. And it's definitely a much more curated. I try to be honest and real, but it's definitely a much more curated side of me.
It's a business.
It's totally a business.
Yeah, like it matters if you get views and engagement and all that. Like that's not just like you do it and like, oh, if people like it, no big deal. Like it is very much a business.
Absolutely.
And so it's like, it's actually very important to get that engagement.
Yeah,
so
totally. So if you follow me on social, please
engage. Leave a comment, would you? Share. Cool.
Okay, but I just want to keep reiterating when we have these conversations, sometimes I feel like because, you know, there's no other audience input, we might have talked about something that someone was like, wait, hold on, can you go more in depth there? Or can you explain that better? So team, if you're listening, if you have any questions or comments back to things that we're talking about today, please go to KaisaFit.com/ask and just record it there. Because even if it's not a question that we play on air, but if you have a comment or question that can help spark another discussion, the point of all of these podcast episodes is that we're talking about things that also help others and that you all find interesting. It's not just so Mike and I can hear each other talk, although we love that. So please go to KaisaFit.com/ask. Leave your messages, leave your comments.
It's a community. It's a team. Like that's the hope, is to continue to build that out.
Yeah,
right. And
absolutely.
like that part of that is it's not a one-way street.
Yeah.
We want to hear from you. That's why we do listener questions, comments, reviews. Like if you want to drop it there or whatever, it's super helpful.
And it guides a lot of what we do.
Totally.
Yeah. So, okay, well, thank you for always creating a safe space. That's what I want to say. Because I do know, I think it's a hashtag blessing to have people in your life that you know have your back. So when they say things, you don't have to be defensive. Even though I might have an attitude for a second, it's less than what it used to be. But I think it's very, very special to have people that you know have your best interests. And so I appreciate that. And I appreciate yesterday there was a little kind call out, and then being able to, you know, talk through things today, because life is a fucking journey. Like, you need other people to be by your side.
Yeah.
Calling you out, supporting you.
agree.
Yeah. So thank you.
You're welcome. And likewise, I appreciate all you do and all the opportunity.
I'm gonna start calling you out a little bit more. I don't think I call you out enough.
Hey, you called me out the other day on after you didn't call me out. And then you called me out, and look,
what
people.
Did I say?
Oh, no, I mean, you shouted me out, I should say.
Oh, I was like, damn, did I aggressively call you out on Instagram?
No, you're pretty nice.
Team,
overall.
please go follow him. He had a problem that I didn't tag him correctly. Can you go follow him at Mike Folden on Instagram?
Look, this is
Please
my
go
last
follow him.
chance on social, all right? So it's kind of like my last hurrah, right? Like this is the story's unfolding. I haven't told you this, but there's a documentary being filmed. It's like, will Mike make it? And this is the early stages. There's a lot of dark days that have been had, and it's about building up to see if I can make it as a micro influencer.
As a micro influencer.
We're not ready. We'll talk about that later. Yeah,
all right, team. Mike, thank you so much for joining me here today. Team, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you back on the Kaisa Show very soon.
Toodaloo rooster.